Welcome to another episode of Regional Italian Cuisine. My name, of course, is Caterina Borsato, and on this program, we're going to be traveling up to the northwest of Italy in the region of Lombardy, or Lombardia, as the Italians would know it at home. Now, of course, this is an area that is really, really rich in many, many things. Of course, there are 11 provinces within this region, Milano probably being the most well-known. It is the centre, I guess, in a sense of food, culture, industry. It is the home to Inter Milan. It is the home of the wonderful Stradivarius, who stringed all those wonderful violins. This is the place where it all happens. Of course, it also takes a lot of its wealth from the River Po and the flat plains, and therefore, consequently, lots of amazing produce in terms of charcuterie. So when we talk of the bresaola and the mortadellas, prosciutti, this is an area where pork takes pride of place, and of course butter was always perhaps more important than olive oil. But even that has changed now. I think they're sort of doing it 50-50. It is where risotto often surpasses pasta, and polenta, of course, is another very important thing. Now, the area is basically bordered by the Veneto on the east side, Alto Adige, you've got Switzerland at the top, and then Emilia-Romagna to the south. So once again, it takes all its influences from this region as well. In terms of space, it is probably the third largest region in Italy, but in terms of population, it's probably the largest. And of course, it accounts for about a fifth of the national product, or national revenue. It is the place where we have beautiful Renaissance painters. There's real beauty in this area. And on that note, our special guest tonight is a wonderful signora who I met many years ago, who emigrated out here from Crema. And Crema is a town that is found about 45 kilometres to the north of Cremona. Very famous little, and they call these people the Cremaschi, so I've learnt that. And she's going to take us through the paces of some of the wonderful recipes and stories that come from that area. So let's go meet Antonella. Antonella, ciao. Grazie,
ciao, Caterina.
Grazie mille. This is the famous Antonella who's been in Australia 7 years?
Nearly 7 years.
All right. Now, I want to ask you a little bit about your family, because your hands tell a story, vero?
Yes.
There are 4 generations of restaurants in Antonella's family, and you had your bisnonna, which is a great-grandmother.
Yes, start my family, my grandfamily is my bisnonno, my bisnonno e my bisnonna, Angela Piovanelli, e hanno avuto la trattoria in Brescia.
So Brescia is an area to the east of this region, very close to the Lago di Garda, of course. So that's where her great-grandparents had their first trattoria. E poi i nonni?
E poi i miei nonni, anche loro a Cigole con un'altra trattoria.
So her grandparents continued on the tradition in this area of Brescia and continued on with this trattoria.
E dopo si sono spostati con la trattoria a Uffenengo, Crema.
And then from there they moved to the town of Crema, which is sort of not smack bang in the middle of Lombardia, but close to. E I tuoi genitori poi?
E partiamo con i miei genitori che hanno aperto un ristorante sempre in Crema.
So from there on, her parents moved a little bit upmarket. So from a trattoria, they moved into the restaurant business. Crazy folks. And of course, Antonella, you used to work at the restaurant, yes?
Sì. Noi tutti in famiglia abbiamo lavorato sempre uniti, sempre tutti insieme, ci siamo sempre aiutati.
It's always been a family affair, as she goes on to say. And from that, I guess she came out to Australia with her husband, Massimo Delcin. I love that word, Delcin. And of course, after a very short period, they had been able to establish a business right here in Melbourne, where they're bringing to you some of the wonderful recipes from the Crema town. And on that note, la prima ricetta per stasera cos'è?
La prima ricetta facciamo degli involtini ziabice. È un piatto tradizionale e particolare da crema.
And of course, with the first dish, it's going to be the involtini zia Bice, Bice being Beatrice, her auntie, and it's a very traditional dish used as an antipasto, of course. In this area, antipasti are the thing before pasta and main courses. They certainly eat, and it's a beautiful take on a cold antipasto because they're using all the charcuterie that is famous in this region, and then placing it basically in gelatin or aspic to set it. So let's go into the kitchen and see how Antonella does this wonderful dish.
For my first recipe is the involtini zia Bice. I use the tuna, parmesan and capers all together a mixer. This dish is for my hometown. It's a one recipe from my auntie zia Bice. This have her name. She's amazing for the cooking, everything, and this plate is very good for the summer. Now you have to mix it very well with your hand because the food have to stay very consistent for put inside the involtini. It's very consistent and ready for put in the involtini. Ham, one slice the ham, or two. I use two every time. One slice the mortadella and two slices the bresaola. Now we take the tuna, parmesan and capers already mixed, and we have to put inside the involtino. And this is us involtino ready. For decoration, the cetriolini, we can cut it in half and put in the top. This is the involtino ready. Now, for finish that, we have to put inside the gelatin. We have to take the very hot water and the gelatin. You put the gelatin in hot water, and after, when the gelatin is ready, I put the gelatina same in the top of my involtino because the involtino stay very clear and no go black. When you put the gelatina in the top of your involtini, you have to close with one lid, yeah, and put in the fridge for all night. And the day after, you can eat in this dish. After overnight, this is your involtini ready. It's very nice dish. Now I prepare the dish for presentation in your table. Now I take one involtino. I have to take off a little bit the gelatin. Only a little bit. Now the involtini is ready. And we prepare the presentation for put on the table. We have to put the mixed salad in the middle of your dish, some olive on the top of the salad, red capsicum cut in the oven, and after peel, cut in very thin for putting your salad, and the feta cheese marinade, a little bit the dressing. We can put as involtini, little bit the reduced vinegar for decoration. This is ready for eating. Caterina now have to taste that.